What is up, everybody? I'm here to give my quick review of, I always say quick review, that's not going to be a quick review, of the new movie Cold Pursuit starring Liam Neeson and a couple other people, mostly only, basically he was the kind of the bigger star in the movie, but there was a couple like Laura Dern and people like that. Anyways, which is a English remake of the Norwegian film In Order of Disappearance, which, if you're seeing this now, it is currently on Netflix. I did watch it before I went and saw Cold Pursuit. But yeah, In Order of Disappearance is what it's called. The Netflix movie kind of had some. It was all kind of bad English dubs, so it was that kind of made it a little funny. But if you just say it's very similar to like my review of The Upside, where they basically kind of copied the movie like exactly. Pretty much exactly, which doesn't happen too often with this movie. The guy who directed In Order of Disappearance also directed this movie, so that's only happened about a handful of times where the person who has directed the original movie also directs the English remake. I actually looked up a little bit earlier and I kind of saw what some of the movies. I haven't seen any of those other movies. There was like Funny Game, The Vanishing, Night Watch. But yeah, that's always kind of surprising. I don't know if it always happens, but yeah, you could basically know exactly how things were going to go in the movie. There was differences because basically in Order of Disappearance, it's Norwegians and Serbians. Serbians are the bad guys, or that's who the guy is trying to go after, is the Serbians. And in this one, it's Americans basically versus the Indians, or Native Americans. They call them Indians. Otherwise, it's basically a very similar movie. You know how it's going to go down. But I did prefer this version, unlike The Upside. I preferred the Untouchables in this in that movie versus The Upside. But in this one, I did prefer this movie, maybe because I just like Liam Neeson versus Stellan Skarsgård. But I was gonna say he speaks English, but they could have got, that would have been funnier if they would have gotten him, the same guy who did the original movie, to do this one. But people like Liam Neeson, so. And they're both considered black comedies. I thought this one was a little funnier. Maybe some of it got kind of lost in translation with the dubbing of it. But yeah, there was more funnier moments in this one. There was a whole part where one of the deaths, I was gonna say I don't want to spoil too much for you, but one of the deaths, this guy had previously talking about how he evidently bangs the cleaning ladies at hotels. Like if he stayed in 100 hotels, he banged like 31 of them, and he'd put like a $20 bill on his dick, and they'd either fuck him or they wouldn't. And and the Indians come to find out where he's at, and they must have shot him right through the dick, because you later see this $20 bill, float to the ground with two bullet holes, and you're like, ooh. So they kind of like laugh at him, but this one seemed to have more emphasis on the cops, maybe because Emma Rossum, or Emmy, I think it's Emmy Rossum from Shameless. She's in this, so maybe they're like, oh, if we're gonna get this kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily called a big name, but she's, people know who she is, so it's like, well, let's give them a little bit more involvement in the movie. And it seems like in Order of Disappearance, there really wasn't much cop police involvement. Basically it's set in Kehoe, Colorado, which I don't know if that's a real place, because in the original, the place they were at wasn't original. It was a kind of a fictional town. Basically, it's like a ski city. Liam Neeson is a plow driver, which is, yeah, everything is exactly the same. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you watch these movies, you can basically pick up. It's like beat by beat by beat, pretty much the same exact thing. The slight differences, like with the cops. The guy's wife in the original, he punches her in the face, or the one with the kid. The guy has a kid, and Liam Neeson's character steals the kid before the Serbians do, and then his wife comes in. The guy's wife comes in, and is bitching at him. Oh, you took the kid, and whatever. I'm gonna have a lawyer, whatever. And punches her right in the face and like knocks her out. And this one, that don't happen. She ducks it and grabs him by the balls. So it's like, oh, there was a little differences there. So there's some slight differences, but basically it's by the exact, I don't know, by the book, or by basically the same exact scenes for the most part. There's everything is basically the same thing. Guy evidently likes shots of like far away shots of a road going into a city, which I don't think they basically rode into Denver, but I don't think there's really any open spaces. I guess I was gonna say, I've been to Denver and I don't really recall much openness like they do show in here. But in the original and this one, there's always like these like kind of city landscapes and a road going into them, and that's exactly what happened in this one. All the same shots for the most part. Everything is very much the same. Oh, one thing I was going to mention in that hotel part where the guy gets shot, they're actually playing on the TV in the hotel. They're actually playing the original movie, which I thought was kind of a nice nod to the original movie. So I thought that was nobody else, unless they've seen it, are gonna even notice that. So that's one thing to kind of watch out for when that hotel scene comes up where the guy gets shot in his dick. Check the TV, because there's a scene from the there's a clip from the original movies. So but yeah, basically everything is very much the same. I thought I was gonna say, I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but I think the very end of the movie, even in the original, is maybe not in this case, but in the original it was the funniest part of the movie, and it happened the exact same way. I don't quite understand how this guy is, because the Indians go to this hotel to stay there, or I guess evidently they're coming from Denver and staying in Kehoe. And they get free passes because basically it's like, oh, you didn't make reservations. And kind of funny thing is, they're Indians, so he's like, oh, all I heard was go back to the reservation. She's like, oh, no. And she gives them free passes to like the ski resort and all that stuff. And one of them is paragliding, or I'm not sure exactly what it's even called. But basically, he has a parachute, and he just kind of jumps off the side of a mountain, or basically just runs off a hill and kind of just starts flying. Which I don't know if that's, I don't know. I'm guessing that must be a thing, but I would think you would need some sort of to take off, but there didn't seem to be much. But anyways, it's like he does it and he goes flying off, whatever, but like night passes and everything, and then the sun comes up and it's light and everything, and the guy's still plowing or whatever, and somehow he's still doing this. It's like somehow he never came down in this whole, I don't even know how many hours, probably I'd say at least 12 hours. This guy's just like gliding around, parachuting around. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It's a good movie, but very, very much just basically, they basically took the script for the original and made some slight changes. Everything was just very much the same. They changed names of the people. One thing. This was the, I think this was the kind of one of the funnier parts too. In the original movie, the guy's name is Dickman. In this one, he's called Coxman. So it's like they kind of changed it around a little bit, and they even make a little joke about what Coxman means. Basically, you get, you are a coxman, you fuck a lot of chicks, is basically what it means. But yeah, all the nicknames that everybody has, everybody had different nicknames except for Liam Neeson's brother's character. They were both called Wingman. And basically he was the wingman of the bad guy, of the main bad guy in this movie, his dad. So his dad was a drug dealer. Now he's the new drug dealer, and the Liam Neeson's character's brother used to work for him. So then when he hears, basically they hire a hitman, and he tells them, it was this guy, and all he knows is the guy who used to work for his dad. So, and this guy is fucking ruthless. He just doesn't give a fuck. He pays the guy $1,000, and he still kills him anyways. I don't know why you'd give somebody $90,000 just to basically, evidently just has money to just blow away, evidently. But then he finds out later, that there's another coxman. But yeah, I thought that was just funny that in the original he's called Dickman, and this one he's called Coxman. So basically, Dick, Cock, whatever, same thing. So, it was a good movie, but very much like the original. Usually with remakes, there's some slight changes. You got Pet Sematary coming up. That looks quite a bit different than the original. It was definitely a lot different than the original. So it's in those cases, it's kind of most better when they change it up a little bit, because it's like when they go basically by the exact same book as the original, it's like, okay, you know exactly what's going to happen. Even probably with like Murder on the Orient Express, that probably played out the same way. I haven't seen the original, but I'm sure that played out the exact same way. There's 3 different versions of A Star Is Born before the new one that came out. I was gonna watch those. I never did get around to watching them, but they're all very different, but they kind of play out the same way. But this, I was gonna say, if you see In Order of Disappearance, or even if you see Cold Pursuit before you see In Order of Disappearance, because probably most people didn't realize that it's a remake, you'll see it exactly like when people die. A black screen pops up and they show the person's name and then a cross, or if it's an Indian, it shows whatever that is. I don't know, like an eagle or whatever, kind of like what's on a totem pole. I like if a Jewish guy died. There was the Jewish guy. Even in the original, they're both Jewish. The guy who they cut off the head, they're both Jewish, evidently. But yeah, basically a black screen, and then it shows, the person who died, which is kind of nice, because maybe you don't always know that the person died. But everything is very similar. He wraps them in chicken wire. Just the way he kills them, he probably, like in the first 3 minutes, or like first half hour of the movie, he kills like the main, like the first 3 people. It's like, jeez, and it's a 2-hour movie. Both movies are 2 hours long. But yeah, basically very much the same movie. Some slight differences in them, but everything pretty much the same. So, like I said, 3 out of 5. Worth checking out. I enjoyed it. Slightly better than the original, but pretty much, like I said, it's very, very much the same movie for the most part. Same director and everything. Ends the same. Everything is exactly the same, and nothing's like switched around. Unlike the Upside, there was some slight differences in that one. There's some actually big differences in that one versus in this one. But everything, you could basically go, okay, this is going to happen here. 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 Everything happened exactly like it did in the original. So, But check them both out. They're both good movies. But yeah, I definitely prefer the Cold Pursuit over In Order of Disappearance. And one thing at the end of the movie, when they were showing the credits, it actually says In Order of Disappearance, like when it's showing the credits. So like it start with whoever died first, basically their name. Like it shows everybody's name, but then their name like is white first, and then it disappears, and whoever's next. So basically, in order of disappearance of who got killed in the movie, it pops up. So it's kind of almost a little bit of a nod there too to the original movie. So those are little things that most people probably didn't even catch. I caught because I haven't seen the original movie. So anyways, 3 out of 5 for 3 out of 5 for Cold Pursuit. Worth checking out. Good Liam Neeson movie, especially if you're a fan of Liam Neeson, even after his bullshit controversy. So check it out, enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Subscribe, I really appreciate that as well. And stay tuned for more reviews.